Hello, Weehawken instrumental students. A lot of us have been practicing from home, and so I wanted to make a really short video on things, just 4 things, that we should be doing while we're practicing from home to make ourselves better musicians. The first and the most important one that a lot of you who have tuned in at 2:30 every single day to help with your practice material is, the most important thing is number one, use a metronome. I have one on my phone. If you don't have one on your phone, you can go to Google and you can literally type in the word metronome, 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 and it'll bring up a metronome for you. And what you do on the metronome is you select your tempo in beats per minute. I have 86 right now because that's what my song tells me it is, 86 beats per minute. And then when I plug that in, it provides me a nice steady beat that I can play along with. Having a metronome on, just make sure that you can't do any weird things like make some notes longer or some notes shorter because you're not sure what the fingering is for the next note, so you just want to stay on that note for a little bit longer. Then a metronome, make sure that you can't do that without it telling you that you're wrong. A lot of you this week, I've asked to practice with a metronome because I can't be there snapping for you or clapping or helping you make sure, so the metronome is the next best thing. And now that I have my metronome on, I'm going to start with the song that I'm practicing today. And right there, I'm going to bring us to my second practice tip because I missed a note. And whether I did it on purpose, we'll never know. But I did miss a note. And the first thing that a lot of us do as soon as we miss a note is we try to practice that same thing again, and then we miss the note again. And then we try to practice the same thing again, and then we miss the note again. And then we practice the same thing again, and we miss the note again. And you see, when we do that, we're not practicing getting it right. We're actually practicing getting it wrong. We're training our muscles to do the wrong thing by doing the wrong thing over and over and over and over again. So the very first thing we need to know is that practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. So if we do things correctly when we practice, we'll do them correctly when it's time to play it later. So when you make a mistake, don't keep making the mistake. My next step would be to slow it down. So I was going at 86 before. So now I'm going to tune that back all the way to 70. And I'm going to go right to where I made the mistake. No, I'm still making the same mistake. I'm still making the exact same mistake. So I used my metronome. When I got to something that wasn't perfect, I stopped. And I made it slower. But even still, that wasn't enough. So then we get to my fourth thing that we should do when we practice, which is make it easier. We don't want to keep making the mistake. So to stop ourselves from making that same mistake over and over and over again, we just make it easier. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to sing it. I'm not going to involve anything else. That's the easiest thing I can do to get the music right, is I can just sing it. And I see on the page I have G, B, D, C, B, C, A, G, F. And I have kind of an idea of what it sounds like. I'm going to sing it one more time. G, G, B, D, C, B, C, A, G, F. And now I really know what it sounds like. I did it twice the correct way, just singing it. So now that I know I can do it that way, I'm going to make it a little bit harder again. I'm going to sing it, and I'm going to move the vowels. I'm going to go G, B, D, C, B, C, A, G, F. And I said, well, I sang it, and I moved the valves, and I didn't have any problems with the valves. So I'm going to move on. If I made a mistake, whoops, I put the wrong valve down. I'm going to go back to just singing it without the valves, just to make sure I have all the notes right. And then I'm going to sing it with the valves again and again until I can do it with the valves right. And you may say this takes a while, but yeah, we don't want to be practicing our mistakes. And this is a way we can practice it without the mistakes. So I've sang it, and I moved my valves correctly. I'm going to go to playing it again. And I'm going to go to playing it at the slow tempo, not at the original tempo. This is still slowed down. sounded pretty good. So I was at 70 there. I sang it, I moved the valves, everything's correct. So now I'm going to move it up. I'm going to move it up to 74 and see if I can do it there. And I could do it at 74. So now I'm going to move it up again to 78. And my original tempo was 86, and I'm not quite there yet. But I'm not going straight to 86. I'm taking small steps to get there. And that sounded pretty good, so I'm going to move it up to 82. I don't know, I made that mistake again. But I'm not going to go all the way back to singing it or singing with the valves. I'm just going to slow my tempo down back again. I was at 82. I'm slowing it back down to 78. And I'm going to do it again at 78 just to make sure, because last time I moved up it didn't go so well. And that sounded pretty good, so I'm going to move it up again, back to 82. And that sounded good again. I'm going to make sure I have it, though, because I had treble at 82. So I'm going to make sure I have it before moving up again. And that sounded pretty good, so I'm moving it up to 86. The tempo that I originally started at when I made my first mistake. Nope. I forgot what the F was in the middle of the line, and so I didn't play it on time. So I'm going to go back to 82. And I'm going to play it again at 82 just to make sure it's right before I try it again at 86. Because I don't want to practice that mistake over and over. One more time just to make sure it's really in there. And now I definitely have it down, so I'm going to go back up to 86. And that sounded pretty good. And it did take me a few minutes, but did you hear? I didn't practice the mistake over and over again at all the whole time. I only made that mistake one time. And then if I made it again, I immediately either slowed it down or made it easier for myself, instead of practicing the mistake over and over and over again. So those are the 4 things that you can do while you're practicing this week to make sure that you're practicing really well. Number 1, use a metronome all the time. You may lie to yourself about whether you're keeping a consistent tempo, but the metronome's never going to lie to you. 2, don't keep practicing mistakes. 3, if you make a mistake, slow it down. 4, if even slowing it down doesn't help, make it easier somehow. Just by singing, take your instrument out of it, sing the part, move your fingers, and then go back to playing the part.